going on, everybody? It's Rob from Hayabusa High Performance, and we're finally moving forward with the 1,000 horsepower build. This thing's been set up in a powder coat jail for a couple months. Had some problems with powder coaters, either not doing the work or just taking forever to do it, but it happens. But they did a good job, got it all back. It's a semi-gloss black, so of course I already put the tape over it just to protect it, because especially when we get to wiring the standalone and all that stuff, just don't want to scratch it. So the goal today, or at least this video, I don't know how many days it's going to take, is to just get this thing in a roller, get the engine in it, and gonna weld some EGT bungs into the turbo header, just because it'll be easier to do that now than later on. So I'm gonna get that all in there, get the turbo header in and secure, and start piecing things together, and we'll go from there. Really excited to show all the carbon fiber bits we got. Of course, we got the carbon fiber wheels. I don't know if you can kind of see that. I showed that in the first video, but we're gonna go ahead and put the carbon fiber fairing stay on, the rear subframe, got a tail section, got a whole bunch of stuff. So if you like carbon fiber parts, you're gonna want to check this out. So let's get to it. All right, check it out. So pretty much a roller. Well, yeah, it is a roller. But so went ahead, put the fairing stay on. This is the, of course, the Montgomery. Let's see, Montgomery carbon fiber fairing stay. Super nice piece, but I don't know if we're gonna run this thing. With the new bodywork we have coming for it, and we actually have complete carbon. So complete the real carbon fiber, yeah. So we got a carbon fiber nose and side fairings, and a carbon fiber tank coming for it too. This is really nice, I really like it, but since we're switching up the bodywork and we actually got a carbon fiber headlight, so that's going to free up a whole bunch of space in the back here where the headlight would be. Since we're going to have all that room, when I go to start putting all the electronics on this bike, I'm going to put everything up in the nose here just to try and get as much weight forward on this thing. So with that being said, it's not like we're putting a ton of weight hanging off this, but I think I'd feel a little bit better if we just went ahead and put the factory one on. Plus I have this is gonna use smart coils instead of factory coils. And I have a bracket that I made that works off the factory subframe that mounts the coils up real nice, actually. Just like that. Anyways, another thing I don't think I mentioned in the first video was, so these are of course Gen 2 forks, but these were sent off to Macintosh before they sold out to whoever it is now. But what they did was, you can see there's only about an inch of travel left from this thing. But another service that they offer too, and I don't know if anybody else does this anymore, is these forks are actually weighted. So I forgot how much we could add, but I think we went ahead and added the maximum, which was like maybe 5 or 8 pounds per fork. So these forks are extremely heavy when you compare them to the factory forks. But they still have an inch of travel. They still work. They're just 5 or 8 pounds a piece heavier. So pretty cool. And these are the M4. These aren't the OEM calipers that came with the bike from the factory. These are the aftermarket M4 Brembos. So until these are big money, but I'll say this: it's one of those things where you really can't justify the money, thinking of like, well, this bike came with Brembos to begin with, so it can't be that big of a difference. If you ride a bike that has these versus the factory Brembos, it's a night and day difference. It's really hard to explain, but trust me, it's night and day difference. What else we have here? Well, of course, we got the carbon fiber tail on this thing and the carbon fiber rear subframe. Really nice stuff. I really like it. The only gripe I have about this thing is, so if you look at this gap right here on the factory bodywork, this gap follows the frame rail, but you can see it closes up. So the tail is actually pitched up slightly. Not the end of the world, but if you look underneath here, so this is the brace for the tail section itself, and it snaps onto the subframe here. It's a little too high, so it kind of pitches it up. Again, not the end of the world. I'm gonna see what kind of adjustments I can make to try and maybe bring it down a little bit. But other than that, I mean, this thing fits nice, and it's weird. It's just weird picking up these body panels and the subframe and stuff like that. It's just weird picking this stuff up and seeing how light this stuff actually is. We got a Penske shock on this thing. And what else we have? I'm gonna have to get a different set of lowering links here with how big this, I don't know, bulkhead, bracket, whatever you want to call it. If you compare the thickness of this to a factory one, this one's way bigger, and how these Brock's lowering links are made off the back, they kind of curve out. So you can kind of see right there, the lowering link is actually digging into the swing arm. So let's just go ahead and get a set of Soupy's links, because those are flat on the back, and then we can go ahead and tighten this all the way down and give us a little bit more adjustment. And I think the last thing I want to end off with is, so this isn't a standard 6-inch wide rim. This is a 6.625 inch wheel. So it's a little over a half an inch wider. And because it's a half an inch wider, instead of running a 190, this is a 200 millimeter tire. So you can see the tire is extremely flat, and it kind of holds the sidewalls up. And so what this is going to give us is it gives us a little bit more rollout, and of course it gives you more contact patch. So looks really cool. It's just one of those subtle details that really makes the thing look pretty dang cool. So next we'll go ahead and pull the turbo off the engine, take it apart so we can go ahead and weld in the EGT bungs. So here we go. This is the stroker motor that I built for this thing. It's a stock bore with a, what is it, a 67 millimeter AP billet crank. So for those of you who don't know, EGT sensors are exhaust gas temp. And what you do is weld these bungs in on each runner, same distance, from the head flange, and all it is it's another tool for tuning. So once you get your tune up, your base tune good, then you can go ahead and start, we can start feeding timing into it, and we can watch exhaust temps as well as AFR and other things, and we can push the tune a bit further. Also, we could set up safeguards in the ECU. So if we start, if we're doing a half-mile pull and the exhaust temps start getting too hot, we can set up a table in the ECU to where it starts adding fuel or pulling timing or whatever we think we need it to do. So we'll go ahead, mark the turbo, because all this stuff, it's got to be clocked just the right way. And then we'll go ahead and mark it, take all this apart, we'll drill it, and then we'll weld these in. So here we go. Alright, well that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Went ahead and put the heat exchanger on with the radiator, and I think next video what we're going to see is, so because we're running an electronic water pump, we'll be high-eyeing these off right here and welding in some -10 fittings, because we're doing, like I said, the electric water pump. So we're going to do that, and then probably going to do the same for the heat exchanger. We have another one of these pumps. I can't remember if it's the billet one, but if it isn't, you can just buy the bottom part here. That way we can have 2 billet water pumps. But I think the next step, the smart move would be to go ahead and get the throttle body on, the air box, and all that stuff, and start doing all the plumbing. Plumb the mechanical fuel pump here, and pretty much get everything in place. That way, once all that's in place, then we can go ahead and start running all the wires. Because I'm imagining somewhere up in here, off of this corner, there's going to be a panel, and the ECU is going to mount on it, a couple relays, and whatever else I think we might need up here. So if you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. I appreciate you guys watching. I posted that stat about how many of you guys are watching that aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you do me a favor, please, and subscribe and at least like the video to help the channel out, I really appreciate it. I got some really cool projects coming, like a supercharged B-King, even a twin turbo build, but I need support from you guys so I can carry through with some of these other projects I got going on. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys soon.